Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on Om Times Radio.
And welcome to Eros Evolution, where sexuality and spirituality meets. I am Dr. Martha Tara Lee. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore. I'm Singaporean Chinese. And I have a practice here called Eros Coaching. And you can find me at eroscoaching.com. And every episode, I invite different guests where we explore the link between sexuality and spirituality. And today, I have with me Yella Cremer. And she's going to be talking about conscious erotic touch. How good are you with your hands? It's all about creating connection and flow for couples today. Learn how to touch can be fun. And from her rich background in Tantric massage, Yella developed tools for couples on how to touch and connect erotically through touch. A little bit about our guest today. Yella Cremer is a well-known German sexpert, author, speaker, and coach. She's the founder of Love Base, one word, a gourmet online sex school, and a successful publisher for quick references for Tantric erotic massages. I've seen them, they're really good. Yella's biggest present to men and women is her sex-positive space that changes everybody who enters it. Her open, fresh, and direct approach sends a deep permission to every sexual being to be okay exactly as they are. In her lectures, workshops, and coaching, she supports people to find and deepen their very personal access to sexuality and intimacy. 7 years ago, she ran a Tantric massage center where she and a team of 14 women and men educated men and women and couples on how to deepen their sexual experience and how to communicate through touch. She gained a lot of hands-on experience on how human sexuality works. Her recent work includes teaching about slow sex, a way to create soul-nurturing sex for couples. And you can find out more about our guest by going to her website, lovebase.com. So welcome, Ella.
Yes, thank you, Martha. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for saying yes. I was impressed with your quick references to erotic massage, and it just demonstrated, just from looking at them, how much thought and love and passion you have for your work to put them together, and that's why I really wanted you to be on today's show.
Oh, thank you.
It's true. So tell us a little bit more about conscious erotic touch. What can we learn from it?
Well, basically, I think it's really great to put your awareness to touch, because we often do it just like without thinking much about it. And when you actually put your awareness and really your full focus on touch, there's really a lot more you can explore than what you already knew before. But most of it, I would say the attitude is important. So if you really take time and attention for it, that will already be like such a big change. And then, of course, like Tantric massage has so much to offer and techniques that you can learn. And I think it's great for couples to include that in their relationship. And it brings a certain quality in giving and receiving as well.
Beautiful. And this is what we can also learn from erotic touch, to be conscious in the giving and receiving.
Yes, absolutely. Because you see, when you appoint for a session, a massage, then you split up the roles. Somebody is a giver and another person is a receiver. And that's already a very specific setting, which is not every day like that. And from my experience, like people often think that, oh, getting is so great, I want more. But often they are not really capable of receiving. Receiving is really a skill as well. And to really open up and to receive and to let yourself be nourished by it is something we can learn as well. And then, of course, the giving part is like, I have the experience that giving is not really something where you have less when you have given, but actually since it's more like a circulation which starts, so you give and then the other one is receiving, and in the way they receive, they give back as well.
Beautifully said, spoken like somebody who knows what she's talking about, who has a lot of practice and experience doing this. So you mentioned organic touch. Is that the same as spontaneous touch? Like people who believe, oh yes, sex should be spontaneous, I shouldn't be thinking about it. Is this what you're talking about as well?
This is absolutely the opposite. Like you actually, I think in my experience, it's really important to make time for it. So you dedicate time to it and not just hope that it happens by the way and that the right mood will just arise. But yeah, that's, in my experience, not true, especially for long-term couples. So I think it's actually great to take the opposite approach, to appoint and then make a time for it. And it doesn't need to be like always a 3-hour session. Sometimes it can be 15 minutes, but to really dedicate that time to it and to focus on it. For that period of time, this is the main is the center of attention.
Beautiful, beautiful. I completely agree with you. I was just, wanting to put that out there because I do get this quite a bit, this misconception that sex should be spontaneous, and you're talking about bringing awareness to touch, being very conscious, making time for it. And I love what you're sharing about the importance of being conscious about it, because we have to learn how to be capable of receiving, as you mentioned, and I'm just summarizing, and allowing ourselves to be nurtured, and learning how giving is not less. So these are very, very important things that you are already beginning to share with us, which I really appreciate.
Yes, thanks for understanding it. I think it's really like one of the central things to learn how to receive, because like if you don't receive, then there's one person giving and nobody receiving, and that's actually really frustrating. Yes. If you know that, and probably we all have been in that situation, that we give and the other one isn't receiving, and sometimes it's just a little thank you, or sometimes just a little like relaxed breathing or a sigh, and that you have the feeling, you received, and that's really fun to give.
Yeah, beautiful. And there's also the confusion of when you think you are giving, but it's really coming from a place of ego, or I know what is good for you, this cool thing that I know because other people have liked it, and it's really not giving. It's more like forcing.
Yes, absolutely. And there's actually a nice model for it, that if giving is always about what somebody requested. So if I do something a person has not requested, it's not giving. I'm actually taking from them because I'm doing something which is pleasurable for me, because I think I'm doing a great thing here. I'm so cool. But if it's not really what the receiver asked for and what is actually what she or he wants, then this is actually not for her. It's for the person doing.
Beautiful. I love what you're sharing. Can you share with us a little bit more why you think couples would benefit from conscious erotic touch?
Yes, absolutely. So I think in German there's a nice word for it. It would be translated to English like skin hunger. I think I created it even in Germany, or I picked it up. It's rather rare too, but we're all born with this, that we really love touch, but often it happens so by the way. And that I've found really if you focus on it, and if you're really putting the other one in the middle of your attention, then that's really nourishing. There's so much love, so much attention, so much well-being flowing from this way of touching. And with couples, we see that they often, even verbally, only communicate for 10 minutes a day or less. There's been research done on that. And then if you see they're already speaking so little, you can guess how little they actually communicate via touch, and how, by the way, maybe the touch is on many days. And if you focus on that as a couple, it's incredibly nourishing. If you do this aware and conscious way of touching, and of course, like if you add this tantric approach that you really include the complete body and that you like welcome the genitals as well. And it doesn't mean that it always has to be erotic. But often it's just like saying like, yes, you are a woman, yes, you are a man. Like putting your hand calmly on the genitals really acknowledges that gender part of us. And that's something I think most people have a very deep longing for, of being acknowledged as woman, as man. And that's special, I think, within this tantric massage, that the genitals are included, but in this very unspectacular and calm way. They are just as valuable as your little toe. Mm-hmm. But it's like making your body a temple, like seeing the complete body as something really special. And I would say always sacred as well. Like we are born with this, and it's in a way our temple, our first temple where we arrive on earth with.
Mm. I love all the things that you are sharing. And we're going to come up for a break very, very soon. I want to ask what happens to those people who don't think they have skin hunger. I know of people who don't like to be touched, don't think that they're missing out on anything, and they might feel even resentful or angry why we keep talking about the importance of touch. So I would really like for you to address a little bit on that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And I mean, skin hunger already hints. It's a little bit like the hunger we have for food. It's so different. And different people need different food, different amounts of food in different times. And there's a lot of different habits. And I think it's a very, very personal story each of us has. But what I see most with the people who are actually say they don't like touch, it's more that they had bad experiences, that their borders were not respected, that they were touched in a way they didn't like, and they couldn't say no, they couldn't stop it from preventing. Yeah. And then, of course, if you have such a negative imprint, you don't want more of that.
And then they can begin to heal that. So,
absolutely.
Well said. We have a break and more after this break.
Yes.
The Real Conscious Connection. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake. The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back to Eros Evolution, where sexuality and spirituality meets. Today we're talking with Yella Cremer on conscious erotic touch. And she has a lot of experience doing this. She's a well-known German sexpert, author, speaker, and coach. She's the founder of Love Base, a gourmet online sex school, and a successful publisher for quick references for erotic and tantric massages. She ran a tantric massage center for 7 years, and she did this with a team of 14 women and men. So she knows what she's talking about. And just before break, we were beginning to talk about skin hunger, the importance of giving and receiving in touch. And I do have a question about what you were talking about, Ella. Hands on genitals. Placing our hands on genitals can be a way of acknowledging. It can be done in a calm way, a non-spectacular way. Tell us more about the benefits of hands on genitals, please.
Yes, great question. What I perceived and why I mentioned it, that I think one of our core needs is really to be acknowledged as person, but very much in our gender as well. So I experience this often with people as a big wound, like they haven't been really acknowledged as male or as female. And in this tantric massage, like when I had a center, like one of the very deep connections we always did in the very beginning is to make sure that everybody who would visit us at this center, that we would welcome them specifically as man and as woman. So that's why I mentioned this, like just calmly laying your hands on the genitals. I mean, there's a ton of other things you can do with great massage techniques, but just this laying your hands there, that usually is already this like, hello, you are seen. Like, hello, yes, this gorgeous woman, this gorgeous man, like you are here and I see you as you are. And I think often we live in everyday lives, our identities are pretty genderless. Like, it's not that they're gone, but they are not acknowledged. We kind of like try to put them as much to the back as possible. And in Tantra, it's more the other way around, that we really try to awaken you with this sense of who you are and with specifically like being the woman, being the man, because there's a certain polarity. And I think this feeling into like who you are on this deep level is super grounding as well. That's really like feeling like, okay, I'm getting back to my center.
Yeah. So our genitals is one of our power centers, and this is what you mean by coming back to our center, I believe.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's of course like it's one of the chakras and it's super energetic, but I think often partly it's so important to be acknowledged because it's so blocked. Like basically the energy is already there, but it really needs to flow again.
And there are people who feel that they are born in the wrong body. So by placing our hands on our genitals, would this be bringing up more wounding or more unhappiness in them?
Well, first of all, what's there, it's there. So if you like really touch with consciousness, like you just acknowledge what's there. It doesn't have this meaning like, oh, you should be happy with it or that would be the right thing to do. It's more like, this is there right now.
Precisely.
And whatever choices they make, I think that's absolutely to respect as well. But I mean, if you feel in the wrong body, then I think it's even a bigger need to be acknowledged as like, this is who you are right now. And if you choose something, like I'm going to acknowledge that as well. I'm going to be a witness to who you are with whatever parts are alive in you right now.
Beautiful. I hope you don't mind me asking that because
No.
I know it's a bit of a tough question, but you answered it beautifully. That it's so important to acknowledge where we are at before we even think about doing anything, whether you want to change something or, even as we do that also, placing our hands on our genitals, I feel that a lot of things that really needs to be addressed will start surfacing, the emotional hurts or trauma will also start coming up, I feel. And it's actually a very profound thing that you mentioned. So we can put our hands on our genitals, and we can put our hands on our partner's genitals as well.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to come back to what you said. Like, I think this profound need of acknowledging what's there right now. I think that's one of the central things in Tantra as well, to just like to be in this moment, because like yesterday is gone and tomorrow it's not there. So the point to be really in this now is like to bring your attention to what's actually in front of your nose. And Tantra is not always about feeling great or feeling like really juicy in your body. Sometimes it's hurt, it's pain. That's like absolutely naturally part of our history. And if that can come to the surface, I think it's actually a very beautiful thing. If that has space and this respect and this held space, I think that's something what couples can do for each other as well. That you really hold the space for the other person to just experience what's there. And my experience is too, like, if this space is created, then things come up and they are expressed, and that's it. Like, it doesn't need to be a big drama or a long story. Like, it's more about addressing it, having space for it, holding it, and then it's in a natural flow. It's not meant to like take your life over or something like that. It's not this big thing which will dominate then everything you experience or you feel for the next 2 weeks. But more like to say like, oh, it's there, hello. And then it can possibly flow in whatever time it can go.
Lovely. I love what you're sharing. And so in essence, what I'm getting is it's okay to not be okay, and to really not feel that we must always be okay, because that puts a lot of pressure on us, and I think to a certain extent it's pretty fake. And
yes.
When we work through all the okay and not okay, I think we really become more than okay. We become great.
Yeah, nicely put.
I just came out with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about learning erotic touch. How can people learn erotic touch or conscious erotic touch?
Yes. There's like a lot of ways, and I've been, of course, already in this position of coaching people and doing workshops with them, and I found that that's a great way to learn. But I also saw that it means like really a high dedication for people. So you have to be at a certain place at a certain time. You have to like really pay for it as well. It's often quite expensive if you want to do a long workshop with. So I found out that there's like really other ways which can support couples to learn this. And that's things you can learn at home as well, like DVDs and books. And I found out that what some couples really need is just like this inspiration. Because we're already, of course, like we are already touching. And learning to touch better is often more about the attitude. So when I wrote a book about G-spot massage, and it's really like 200 pages and in all details. Like you can read like from starting from the surrounding, about how the body actually works, a lot of massage techniques, settings you can choose. And then I did this short version of it, which were just 2 pages. And first I thought like, oh, a lot less people will buy that. And then I found out that actually a lot of people love to buy only the short version because they felt that they already have an idea how to do it, but they wanted inspiration. And that's when I came up with more of these short versions where I give inspirations and share like really the absolute key points to put people on the right path, and then have them like figuring out the rest themselves. And sometimes I think it's really enough. And sometimes people just start with this and then they find out like, oh, actually, like we got a little taste, but we really want to go deeper in there. And then they can always like book a workshop and do a week-long training and really like go deeper and deeper with it. But I basically felt that it's really good to give people a jump start. Yeah.
I love what you're sharing, because it's meeting them at wherever they are at for whatever purpose that they are seeking to learn. You have different products for that, and all is about facilitating their growth and their exploration.
Yes.
So it's fantastic. Yeah, I love your products, and people can find it on your website, lovebase.com.
Yes, absolutely. And I have German and English versions. So I started with German because I'm German-based. But since I love to be in English-speaking countries as well, I thought like, okay, let's translate them and bring them into the world.
Oh, I'm so glad you did the English versions because I can't read German.
Yeah, I mean, there's pictures on there, but it's actually, I think, too, for English people, it's really good to have an English version.
Yes, that's awesome. So, besides learning from your instructional guides, the 2-page thing that you have, then there's DVDs and courses, and then there's also Skype. Tell us a little bit about how people can learn from you via Skype.
Yes, I offer Skype sessions as well to couples who really like want to go deeper and want to address their personal questions as well. Because like as we talked about, like giving and receiving is often not such an easy thing for couples. And there might like personal questions or issues might come up. And then I think it's really great if they have somebody outside of the relationship to speak to and to hear like actually like what is possibly a way, or what's the deeper layer of this topic we have on the surface. And that's why I offer Skype sessions for couples who are really interested and want to like benefit more from erotic and conscious touch in their relationship.
Mm-hmm. So we're coming up for break soon. I'm just curious, why Love Base? Why do you call your company Love Base?
Yeah, actually, when I was looking for a name, I thought like we really need to learn about good sex, and we need to learn about touch and about creating erotic spaces. So it was in the beginning a physical center. So I had this like, okay, this is a base, like it's like a home base where you can come and learn.
I see. So Love Base. Thank you. Yeah. So we have a break, and we'll come back and share more with Ella.
Mm-hmm.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Have you bought into the idea that you have to work hard for your money, that business is hard? I will share some dynamic access consciousness tools to get you out of your own way so you can create a business that actually succeeds. Join me, Simone Millisers, on The Joy of Business at 4 p.m. Mondays Eastern.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of Om Times Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of Om Times. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. What if business could be fun? What if business is the adventure of living? What are you choosing? Where do you do business that makes it easier, more fun, or more joyful for you? We'd love to see where you do business. Connect with us on Instagram at Joy of Business or Twitter at Joy of Business, and share your pictures with hashtags BusinessDoneWhere and Joy of Business. Let's change the world with business. Free your mind with Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
You're listening to Eros Evolution on the Om Times Radio Network, and you can share this show with your friends live by going to this link, omtimes.com/mobile. With this link, your friends will be able to listen to this show without needing to download any app. It's really cool because it's convenient, and nowadays apps, some they work on iPhones and some don't work on Android, and so on and so forth. So it gets very complicated. So this is completely online. That's omtimes.com/mobile. We are with Yella Cremer, and we're talking about conscious erotic touch. Just before break, we were talking about the importance of hands on genitals. We were also talking about the ways in which we can begin to learn erotic touch. And right now, I want to ask a little bit more because, Yella, I understand that you had a Tantric massage center 7 years ago, and as of 4 years ago, you started teaching full-time. So tell us a little bit about the do's and don'ts from what you saw from the men, women, and couples that you were doing training and coaching with.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, when I got into Tantric massage, it started all with one receiving myself. And then I immediately knew, like, I want to have more of this in my life. So it was a setting in the beginning, and it's a setting, if you run a Tantric massage center, which is not such a personal connection, because it's a service you offer. And of course, that's a different setting than if you choose to learn erotic Tantric massage as a couple. And what I learned there, that it's really important that you create this ritual space. So you start with opening the space, and after 2 hours, 3 hours, however long the massage is, you close the space. And what I love specifically in that is really that in this space, nothing else matters. So you really go totally into this female-male space and into the roles of giving and receiving. And it's not about like, do I like your body? Do I actually think you're a nice person? Do I think we have the same taste in music or anything? But it's really about like meeting very like pure in a way, like very much as these core people. Mm-hmm. And what I saw a lot was that the men who came, really, they first of all needed to meet a woman who's really saying yes to their sexuality. Like, a lot of men have big wounds there that they feel like, okay, we had so many rejections by women, and often it felt like we are inappropriate with our sexuality. And if they see that they're really like welcome in certain limits, like a Tantric massage setting has like quite a lot of limits. So it's like really like active and passive, and if you receive as a male, it's nothing like maybe what you know with a lover when you have an exchange. But still these men felt a lot like they are welcomed. And that was one of the core things where they often melted away, and we found like, oh, that's actually a deep need. And it's not that these men were all single and never were touched by a woman, but not in this really acknowledging way. Yeah. And the other way around, what I saw with a lot of women when they came, really one of the most important thing was that they felt like safe, that they felt like my personal border is really acknowledged and respected here. And that would start already with the way they would call, that they would really ask like, so if I say I don't want to continue, will you respect that? If I say I don't want to be touched there, will you respect that? So that a lot of different needs needed to be addressed there, that this woman really often felt like they go in small steps. And yes, of course, they have a female body and they want to enjoy it, but first of all, they needed a safe container. They needed to feel that, okay, whatever like step as I go, I need to be sure that I don't need to go more steps than I already feel. So this seemed to be two like really core topics which were different for male and females. And I think that reflects very much in the work we did with couples. Like when we teach couples, that we really need to like teach the males to like listen carefully and to touch in a way that the woman feels like she is the one deciding what's happening next. And if you create a massage setting, and of course you have an idea what you're going to do next, but you always like check in, is this the right thing? And what it might have worked yesterday might not work today, and tomorrow might be a complete different thing again. And the other thing that I often felt that in women, the first thing when they were giving was really to go themselves on a to a place where they felt safe and like had trust in themselves, that they were capable and that they were like really feeling they're competent to touch, and to make sure that they knew and had all the conditions that they could do it, because from that space they could actually welcome the male. If they felt like the setting is done in a way that I feel good, then I can welcome the male. But this is exactly where these two different topics intertwine. Like if you have a setting where giving and receiving is mixed up, then the woman often fears for their borders. That it's like, oh, this touch was not exactly right, but I don't want to break the situation. I don't want to say, please stop with it, because then the man might get upset. And that's why I think splitting the roles in active and passive often gives a woman a lot more of this safe space. Then often the woman is already very tuned in to try to get the feedback from the man. But first of all, she needs to be very secure and really feeling in a good space herself. And then she can give this welcoming to the man, which is he's longing for probably all the time. So we saw that dynamic a lot in couples when they would come, and that we saw too that a second thing of learning to communicate via language is so important too. So you can't learn only a massage technique and be really great in it and then it will be all fine. But no, it's really like this learning to communicate on the other level as well, like what's going on for you, like giving feedback, receiving feedback, being really open for feedback, and talking already with these very fine sensations. Don't wait until you really had enough and then you're almost ready to get up from the massage table, but more really talk this is great, please move this, and say less of this, maybe a little bit slower, or try something else. Communicate with words as well, but do it in a way that's not hurting. Because often there's patterns which already happen in the relationship can be reflected back in there, and that's very discouraging. So it's a lot of learning which can happen there parallel, and it's altogether, I think, a really healing thing in the relationship, because of course it spreads out from the touch to everyday situations as well, addressing your needs and addressing your borders.
Yeah, you just shared so much, and it's so profound. I'm taking notes. Okay, so I'm going to summarize what you just said very quickly. You talked about the importance of creating a ritual space to have an opening and closing, and in that time, nothing else matters. And for men, you notice they actually need more yes to their sexuality for them to feel loved, accepted, and welcomed. And for women, specifically, more about feeling safe, being in a safe container, and knowing that their boundaries will be respected. And with couples, you talk about the active and passive. You talked about the importance of them learning how to communicate, and it's more important than just massage techniques. Being able to learn fine sensations and doing in a way that is not hurting. And you talked about the link between how they are I believe, in sessions with everyday situations, because the same dysfunction that they're having in session probably would be the same ones acting out in their relationships. So really, this is embodied training, and this can really help start shifting even the relationship and breaking patterns. So is that a okay summary?
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for summarizing it and making the points even clearer.
Yeah, it's wonderful, because you were able to summarize what you have seen in men, women, and couples over 7 years, and you've really given us the essence of what it is. And I hope listeners can really appreciate the richness of what you're sharing, because this is really such a profound truth that women need to feel safe, and men need to feel that they can be loved, accepted, and they can feel that that they can possibly get yeses instead of always getting rejection all the time. This is really, really amazing stuff. I'm putting an asterisk next to it. So Let's talk a little bit about the obstacles that I'm sure you face in your work. The obstacles when people learn about conscious erotic touch. Could you name some of them and perhaps what they can do about them?
Yes. Well, the biggest obstacle I see with people is that they actually know that they want to do it, but they don't do it. They don't take the time. And this is something which I see not only with touch, but I see it with relationships at all, that we expect them to just be there. Like once you found the right person, everything is just happening by itself. And I always think, like, compared to how much happiness and how much expectations we have towards relationship, and how happy we feel when they are great and how unhappy we are when they're not great, we don't dedicate enough resources to it. So this is, again, like, this is now a meta level I'm speaking about, but it's actually like the main thing that people like don't do it. They think it would be great, but then they don't dedicate time to it. And of course, like we talked about that already in the beginning, one of the things which stops them is that they think it should be spontaneous. And I think that's a misbelief, which is maybe conveyed by media and by movies, that it all just happens by itself. And that we need to turn around that belief and really think, like, if this is important, I'm going to make it a priority, and I'm going to actually put time into my calendar for it. Like, we're going to make an appointment, and then we actually do it. And then when we maybe finish, we make another appointment, or we just make it whatever schedule it is, but to make sure, like, this is actually happening.
Okay. So
and then,
yes.
Yeah.
So the first is no, but don't do. The other one? Any others?
Yes. Yeah, a second thing I think is that people often fear that it's going to be very complicated. And I really like to shout out to that. It's like, it's more about the attitude. Yes, you can learn a lot of wonderful techniques, but actually, like, it's more the attitude.
Wow,
And if
it just came out on us. So we're going to have a pause and let's go more into this after the break.
Yes.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. Om Times Radio. IOM FM.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she is feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. Om Times Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single Om Times endeavor. Host your show with Om Times Radio Network. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at Om Times Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. Om Times Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business. Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. Om Times Radio. your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Welcome back to Eros Evolution, where sexuality and spirituality meets. This is the last 15 minutes of today's show, Conscious Erotic Touch with Yella Cremer. And just so you know and don't miss out on it, that she is offering a free ebook, and you can go to this special link that she just created for us today, and it's called lovebase.com/OM. Okay, that's lovebase.com/OM. And what you'll get is you'll get a free EPUB. You'll be able to download it, and it contains diagrams on genital massage. Am I right?
Yes, it's on lingam massage specifically. So this is a massage for the male genitals.
Yeah, so it's definitely something that you don't want to not receive, or should I say, this is something you definitely want to receive. And just before break, we were talking about 2 obstacles to people learning conscious erotic touch. The first one being people who know that they want it, but they don't do it. And the second being fear that it's going to be too complicated. And as Yella mentioned, it's all about your attitude. Okay,
yes,
so
I mean, once you have the attitude right, I think you will always find your way. Like if you want to know more techniques, then you will find that. But the attitude is really the first thing, and communication, which we already covered as well.
Yeah. So on Eros Evolution, every week I ask the question to my guests what they see as the link between sexuality and spirituality. And I already have some idea of how you feel about it, but maybe for listeners out there, just to give a quick answer, the link between sexuality and spirituality.
Well, I would say they're almost like the same. Like I can't imagine them to be not connected, because like sexuality is like one of our really basic energies, and we are, in my perspective, more spiritual beings with a human body. But maybe that's exactly the link. Like we have this human body and we are spiritual beings. And one of our really great expressions of the human body is our sexual energy and living like this sexual energy in our body. But for me, it means to express it in a certain way. So to connect it with your consciousness. This doesn't mean that it can't be like super juicy and really nice to enjoy. It doesn't have to be like always very serious, and spirituality is for some people like very, very serious business. But I think more in this way, that's kind of like if we really use this energy and if we let it flow and cultivate it, for my idea, it really brings out our spiritual being as well. It expresses our spiritual being, and it's, for my idea, really like if you cultivate, like you put energy to your spiritual development as well.
Beautiful. Okay, I'm taking notes. I love what you're sharing. And how it just, all this wisdom just coming out of you. And tell me a little bit about this slow sex that you practice. You teach slow sex. This is a way to create soul-nurturing sex for couples. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, that's actually like another practice I really think every couple should learn, because slow sex is an idea of how to genitally connect as well between the man and woman, that you actually exchange the energy, that you take yourself kind of like what we do usually, like if we do this very like friction-based sex with a lot of speed, we usually lose our awareness and our consciousness. And slow sex slows it down, as the name says, but not only slows it down, but puts a lot more awareness into it. And in that way, I have the feeling that we actually let the energy flow, like the natural flow it does, because we have this polarity between man and woman, which is actually already like, if we don't put ourselves in the way, it is flowing and it wants to flow. But what we do with a lot of ideas and with like goals we put into sex, that we get out of the moment and we try to reach something, like a certain level of excitement, maybe an orgasm, maybe another orgasm, maybe orgasm at the same time. And with all the goals we put in there, we take ourselves away from the moment. And slow sex, I mean, that's a very short version now. But slow sex, in the way I understand it, is really teaching people to stay with the moment. And there's like practices and tools which support that, especially because most of us really have to get away first from this habit of making everything very fast and being almost not present with it.
Beautiful. Okay, so where can people go and learn more about slow sex?
Well, there's some things on my website as well, like about past workshops. You can buy an intro talk, which we held this year in Australia, like we means my husband and me, which is actually giving a great overview of slow sex already. And then, of course, again, you can book coachings, which we offer for couples who want to go into that.
Beautiful. Tell us, you're fascinating. I really, truly, utterly enjoyed having this show with you. I'm learning lots of things, and you're just so eloquent and fluent in what you're sharing. And let's not forget that actually you usually do this in German. This is your first English podcast. So it's really amazing for me. So tell us a little bit about your upcoming projects.
Well, yes. Well, thanks for the compliments first. I really enjoy being here. Another next project, I think it's going to be so cool, is I do one of these quick references about the use of the jade egg, because I think that's a great tool for women to really get in touch with their body. It actually has a lot of health benefits, and it's a 5,000-year-old practice already, so it's nothing new I invented, and it's been already around for a long time, but I don't think it got the attention it needs. So I name it a kind of vaginal yoga. You could say yoni yoga as well, but that's a tantric word for the vagina, which not so many people know. So vaginal yoga is really just very simple using this egg, and you can do a lot of advanced exercises up to weightlifting with your vagina. But already the basics are really beneficial for women. And I think most women really can benefit from being more at home in their genitals.
Beautiful. So this is keeping you busy. Is there anything else?
Well, I'm actually working I have a book about the G-spot, and it will move to Random House next spring. So I'm adding a new chapter on that in German, and I really hope they might translate it to English. It's a big company, so I think it's possible that they translate it, and it will be great.
Awesome. You're doing such amazing work. And any last things that you'd like to share with listeners, advice?
Well, I really think try it out. Have a look at my website and see if the quick references can benefit you and support you. And really, I would ask every couple to really dedicate time to their relationship and to their sexuality. Don't take it for granted, because I think we can learn so much, and if we always expect that it happens by itself, I think we're missing out on a lot. So learning good sex is possible, and I think there's many ways. I'm certain there's a way for every couple and every person. So
beautiful. So thank you so much for coming onto today's show. I really appreciate all the things that you're sharing with us. And for listeners out there, to find out more about Yella and her quick references, go to her website, www.lovebase.com, and you can subscribe to her newsletter to get up-to-date information about quick references, new books, videos, and workshops around the world. And if you like her, just before the show, I was asking her what's her intention for today's show, and her intention is to receive questions, feedbacks from you guys. She wants to hear from you. And make it worth her while. Encourage her. This is, after all, her first English podcast. So drop an email. And you can also connect with her on Twitter. That's _lovebase. And on Facebook, that's Yella Cremer. That's YELLACREMER. And remember to download your free gift. That's lovebase.com/OM. And you'll be able to get this ebook on lingam massage. It's really fantastic to be able to learn this and get this freebie from her. Thank you once again. And
thanks for having me.
It's really been fun. We need to do this again. I utterly, truly enjoyed having you here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. And it's great. The conversation could go on and on, I feel.
Yes, beautiful. So next week I have another guest, and we're going to be talking about the science of sex and spirit. And we're going to be with Canadian somatic sex educator, Catherine Jesse, and she claims that through the erotic we have a technology of profound joy, and sex is an art and craft through which we can apprehend and share a reality where we feel at one, at peace, and fully alive. And this is not something that just happens in our minds. This is an embodied experience generated by touch, love, and neurochemistry. So be sure to join me next week on Eros Evolution. This is where sexuality and spirituality meets. I'm Dr. Martha Tara Lee. I'm a clinical sexologist based in Singapore. My company is called Eros Coaching. That's eroscoaching.com. And in May, just in a few days, May is actually Masturbation Month in the US. And I'm going to be doing a tele-summit called Make Love Week together with Robbie Vergol. So if you're interested to find out more about Make Love Week, the link is not quite up yet. But you can definitely follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and join me and be one of the first to find out about Make Love Week soon. So goodbye and have a good week, and I'll see you next week.